Hey Aurorians, today I'm going to give you my best tips in the tactics game mode so you guys can start getting more W's and less L's. I know you guys are losing games and you're wondering to yourself, does my opponent know something that I don't? Well, guess what? They do. But that's fine, as I'm going to give you all the secrets that the top players are not telling you. And also what the game doesn't tell you. As tactics is a complicated game mode, a lot of things go unnoticed, but not no more. As you guys are about to become a problem in tactics after you listen to these tips. So go and like the video before we get started, and also comment below what your favourite monster to use is. By the way, there's a rumour on the Aurory streets that apparently if you're not a subscriber, you can't hatch any 5-star monsters in the game. I know that's a shame, but to stop that, it's very easy. Just go subscribe now, and then you don't have to pay any expensive fees to go buy any 5-star monsters. You can go and hatch them and start getting more W's. Enough of me speaking, cue the intro. So let's get into my tips, yeah? And starting off, we have the shift button. Because I'm telling you now, none of you are using it. And if you are, you're not using it for both of its use cases. So basically, the shift button allows you to do two things. One, increase your damage by using hype points. And two, it allows you to navigate around the map with the squares and allow you to have more control over it instead of allowing like the game to decide where you're going to finish. I know. None of you knew this, yeah? And instantly this is going to make you 10 times better just by knowing this single button. But let me explain both of them to you in a bit more detail. But starting off with like the attacking part of it, when you press shift and you attack, you basically increase your damage by how much hype you have. So the more hype you got, the more damage you're going to do. But you got to be smart with it because you got to build all that hype back up. And if you want to use your special moves, you need hype. So you need to pick here what you're going to do. Are you going to use your hype for a big damage attack? Or you're going to wait and save it up and use it for a big strong ability? Because you got to think about it. It will use all your hype. It don't use like a percentage and leave you a little bit. It uses all of it. So it's kind of like an all or nothing kind of like situation. So don't use it on like a Dip King. Because if Dip King dodges and you use all your hype on it, you're going to like hold your head in your hands and think, why did I do that? Why did I attack the Dip King? I could attack anything else. But if I haven't made it clear, use your hype wisely. As you don't want to use it on a big damage attack and then you're just stuck, not doing anything. So use it wisely, as if you do it well, you can literally OTK monsters. And then if you have the advantage of having the 2v1 on your side, it's an easy W. Now the second use case for the shift button is the movement button. One movement button, it basically allows you to like navigate the map a lot better. So say if you're using number 9, which is obviously the reason most people use this button, it allows you to basically pick which square you actually want to go to and the path you can go. So instead of it going to some automatic square and you can't do what you want, you literally go forward, then you can pick either left, right, and then you can finish where you want. And this allows you to just navigate so much better. And especially number 9 players, if you're not using this button now, when you do, your number 9 is going to feel like a whole other monster. It's funny, yeah, because the shift button is literally like a magic button. And half the players don't even use it. And if they do, they're not using it properly. Because half the people definitely don't use it for the movement. So that alone allows you to progress more than them players just for having that one bit of information. And that's the first tip. Let's get into the rest of them. The next tip's going to be use the bonus squares. I don't really know what they're called, but we're going to call them bonus squares for now. But basically, you see the two squares that allow you to, one, get health, and the other one allows you to get more hype points. These are super key. The hidden one can literally bring you back from like losing a game. And if you have the right monster collecting hype on that spot, it can literally OTK and destroy a team. The thing with both of these squares is the effects of them happen at the end of the turn. So if they're healing, you'll be healed at the end of your turn. And with the hype points, you'll get them at the end of the turn. So the thing is, you want to do all your stuff and then finish there. So you can do all your damage, and if you get hit with Reflect by Zoo, you can finish on the hidden square and get some health back. Another thing is with these squares is, you kind of want to like control the board when it comes to them. Because not everywhere has healing. And some maps, it's just in the middle. So you want to control the board, because if you have the hidden square like on lock and your opponent can't get to it and you can constantly go and use it when you want to, that's a big advantage you will have. So be smart with it. But there's one thing you need to like consider when you're trying to like go towards these squares, is if you move, you're just going to hurt yourself in the long run because you'll move lower down the timeline. But that's going to get us into our next point. Okay, this tip's going to be really hard to explain, and the timeline system basically deserves a whole video in itself because it's so complicated and there's so many different elements to it. But I'm going to try to explain it really short. But basically, any action you make in the game pushes you further down that timeline. So every time you move down the timeline. Every time you attack, you move down the timeline. So sometimes you don't really want to like move if you don't have to, and sometimes you don't want to attack if you don't have to, because in the later part of the games I'm in, if you're like constantly moving around and constantly doing like actions you don't necessarily need to do, you're just going to be so far down in the timeline, and it will get to a point where your opponent will have 2 attacks before you get 1, and when that starts happening, the game's over. So don't get yourself in that predicament, and use your every action in the game wisely. Make sure every time you want to go for an attack, it's meaningful. So at the beginning of the game, when you're like just getting all set up and getting close to each other, you don't always need to throw in that attack, because you're gonna, 1, stop yourself from getting more hype points, and 2, you're gonna affect yourself with the timeline. And you want to kind of like build it up over time, because the more your opponent moves around and has to like cater to like you beating them, the more they're going to hurt themselves in the later round. And you want to be the person that's getting the 2 attacks against your opponent. You don't want the 2 attacks coming to you. But like I said, this is a very short explanation on the timeline, and I'm going to drop a video explaining it all in detail and how you can control it and get wins from that, learning the system better, very soon. So guys, now you know about the hype affecting the damage you can do in the game. Now it's time for me to explain to you how you get it, how it works in kind of like a short portion, so you can understand it a bit better and you can start getting more W's because of it. So at the beginning of the game, you'll start building up hype, and in the later rounds, you'll start building up hype a little bit quicker. And also you can affect it like you getting more hype by standing on the square. But you can use it all in one single attack by using the shift button. That's the simple part. But now let me explain the complicated part. When you should be using it and when you shouldn't be using it. Because some are obvious, but some aren't. So starting off, the times you shouldn't be using it is on a Dip King. Because a Dip King can dodge. And it has the passive ability on the 4th ability that hits it, it automatically dodges. So if you did a full like hype attack onto it and it moves out of the way, I know I kind of like made the joke earlier, but generally it's so annoying. And what happens there, you lose an attack out and it doesn't lose any health, and also you run out of hype points and you got to start again. So that means you won't have any of your other abilities and you have to use your basic attack. And another monster to be like aware of is Sheba, because Sheba has the bodyguard ability. So the minute like that monster gets to like 6 hype, be wary of that. So what you should do is don't attack any monster apart from Sheba. The minute it gets to that point of the game, just go for Sheba. And before then, try your best to go and OTK the weakest monster on their team. Because the minute it gets to like 6 hype, Sheba's just going to bodyguard. Then you're going to lose that on attack. And if you use all your hype on that, you're going to lose all the hype again. So like these are like 2 of the key monsters to be wary of when it comes to like using your hype, because you don't want to lose it all for nothing. But the times you should be using your hype is when you have a type advantage in the attack, or if they have any like debuffs on them from like Tank Buster from Dip King or anything from number 9. Because the thing is, with the hype attack, you want it to be meaningful and do the most damage and be at the best time. So the best time will be in the moments when the monster is the weakest. So if you've got a type advantage, you're going to do so much more damage. And if they have a debuff from any of the monsters, you're going to see the big impact from 1, the type advantage, and 2, the hype multiplier. Another thing is, learn the damage your monsters can do. Because if your monster can kill a monster without using any hype, don't do it. Because if it does it, if it overkills the monster and you wasted all that hype, again, you got to build it all back up. This is what I mean. At the end of every single story, you got to build it back up. So use it wisely, because if you waste it, you're just going to lose the game. So now, Aurorians, you know all the secrets in tactics. So go get all the wins and climb the leaderboard. and send me a thank you in the comments later. I've been bullying people in tactics for a while now, so I thought it's best that I tell you all my secrets and all my tips. So get ready for a series of videos on everything you can do in the game soon, as I feel these will help you along your journey to be the best Aurorian. But that's it from us for today. So if you haven't already, go like the video if you're enjoying playing Aurory right now, and comment below which of these tips you didn't know, as I know there's at least one you didn't know. Did you forget the rumor I told you at the beginning of the video? It seems if you're not a subscriber, you can't seem to get any 5-star monsters when you hatch eggs. So maybe if you want to actually start hatching some 5-star monsters and don't have to pay some expensive fee to get them, subscribe now and start hatching them. And remember, be a shark in this world, no whale. And we're going to see you guys next time.